need to get a ticket as well. Definitely been on a tram before you, bud. Wash! Here we go, guys. Marathon day. We're about to get the tram to Trafford, where the start line is. The work's been done. Only one thing left to do, send it. Plan is go out with the 3:15 pacer. The A goal is sub 3:10, but that is definitely like up there. Would have to show up, things have to go my way. Secondary, 3:15, I'd be fucking buzzing with that. Then 3:20, anything sub that, still be happy. But yeah, now we're heading there, meeting Coach Parker, and I'm sipping on a carb drink mix. I've had my almond butter, had my sourdough, had my honey, and feeling good. Not felt this good in a while, so we've gone for the New Balance as well, on the feet in the end. So yeah, let's head to Trafford. How you feeling, Seb? Ready to rumble? Bro, I cannot wait to not have to eat so many carbs again. Let's go. I'm gonna fight 'em all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. Is the start line this time, mate? Taking their time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. The plan is time to shred it, bro.
Good mate. Prepped up.
Ready
for these then?
Gone for these, got blister plasters on. Best ones I've worn, man. They just look at the laces, they sit right.
Yeah.
So I got the blister, but I've got plasters on. Feeling good, man.
See what you start times at 1/4 past.
10 past, is it?
10 past, yeah.
10 past.
Done any jogging?
Nah, but I think you can go through there, so I think we'll have to, but it's athletes only, it says. I do, what?
Not gone with the crowd.
Oh, no, yeah, it's always going against the grain.
Always against the grain.
I'm ready for it though, man.
What are you thinking now? Little 10-minute?
I think we'll have to go, I think we'll just go through there, but it's athletes only, innit?
Yeah,
Right, we need to make moves.
Right, bruv,
Yeah.
see you on the other side.
Good work.
Right, take it easy.
Let's do this shit.
Just like the white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just like the white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh. And the days go by like strand in the wind, in the web that is blown.
So far, so good. Fucking hurts.
Just like the white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, ooh. Just like the white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, ooh. But I went today, maybe I will go again tomorrow.
Nothing can prepare you for that. That second half, my legs just fucking fell apart. Watch was behind as well, finished at 1 hour 20, 28 seconds. So, not the time I hoped for, that was fucking hard. Just glad I finished. Glad I finished. Yeah, but she said it didn't work, you know. Can't even walk. I literally can't even walk. Can't even fucking walk. The pain, man. I can't even explain it. I can't even walk. Not right. I never want to do that again, man. So guys, 48 hours since Manchester Marathon, and it's time for the debrief. What went well? What did not go so well? I am very sore still. 42.2 kilometers is no joke. And I definitely felt every last step of the final 10 kilometers. The rumors are true, the myths are true. the back end of it, nothing can quite prepare you for it for your first time. Mentally and physically, it whacked me for 6. I very much lost my composure and internal dialogue, which keeps me going at times during that last phase. And I'm looking back at it in a bit of regret, if I'm honest, because usually I'm pretty good at digging deep. And as you can see by my splits on Strava, it got the better of me in my mind and in my legs. But we'll look at what the positives were from the race itself. Fueling. I did a half marathon race 3 weeks ago and pulled up with a stitch on like the last 1.2k. And I think that was due to excessive gel usage. I was on the Mortons and I had 2 caffeine Morton gels during the half marathon. And I think the second caffeine one just sent me over the edge. But during this full marathon, I had 4 Morton 160s and 1 Morton 100 with caffeine. So I had them around 6-7k each. So every 6 kilometers or 7 kilometers, around that mark, depending on how I felt, I would have a gel. I had 2 160s and then I had the caffeine gel as the third one. But I did notice a stitch coming on when I had the third gel during the race. So that leads me to think maybe the caffeine gels don't quite agree with me, the Morton ones anyway. But apart from the gels, I also managed to get 2 bottles of Humantra electrolytes whilst running round. I planned this in advance to grab them at certain mileage points, and this definitely helped. Some reading I checked out online, true or not, I don't know, but having all the gels in your stomach with no water, that can cause discomfort in your gut. So I was logically thinking if I can get some electrolytes, some water and whatnot inside there, then the gels may sit better. And to be honest, it seemed to be fine. Didn't really experience any kind of bonking. However, I would say the second caffeine gel I had, which did not get taken, could have been the difference in the final stretch. But in the half marathon of the week, I decided to have a caffeine gel right at the end to try and get me through, and I got a stitch. So another pro is that no kind of toilet issues, stitches, cramps, and this ties in with the fueling. None of this affected me. So we had a pretty smooth race. The next real positive is the first 30 kilometers. I was flying. Everyone I spoke to was like, oh, you were flying. We saw you going this kilometer, we saw you there. And I really was in the groove. And for that, it's a good sign. Like I was fit enough, like cardiovascularly, to go at that pace, which was around 4:35-ish for that first 30 kilometer, I would say on average, maybe a bit less than that, to be honest. I cooked a few low 420s. So yeah, the first 30 kilometers was smooth. I think it was around 32k that the wheels start to fall off. Another thing is the training in general went really well. 15 weeks, I started with pretty much 0 mileage because the back end of last year, I got a bad injury on my ankle, couldn't get rid of it. So every time I tried to run, I kept getting injured. So to start from pretty much 0 Ks to build up some 50, 60k weeks is really good. And the training in general, I didn't have to make too many sacrifices to my life. I still trained pretty hard, still enjoyed myself quite a lot. So it wasn't like I had to give up everything for the 15 weeks. Another huge positive is I actually enjoyed it. The last half, there was dark spells, but when I look back now, I did actually have fun. And I know next time I'll be able to anticipate them feelings of the wall, which we're going to move on to shortly, and enjoy it even more, because there was definitely that anxiety of like, what's going to come next, how am I going to feel, etc. And when it's your first time, you have no idea what's to come. So if we look on the flip side, what did not go so well? I feel like it's always easier to find the negatives with these kind of things, but obviously that last 10 kilometers, that did not go well. It started off my brain like, do not go slower than 440, don't go slower than 450. The next thing you know, I did a 5-minute one and then I lost my head. I'll be honest with you, the more I think about it as time's going on, I'm not disappointed really in the result. I think I deserved a 3:20 finish time because like I've been gigging every weekend. I've drank most weekends this year. I've not cut corners, but like I've not made some sacrifices in some areas which I could have to potentially kick on. But that last 10 kilometers, I think I almost gave up in sections. I remember thinking at one point, just get me to the finish line. And people had told me about this, the wall, your legs fall off, all this stuff. And because I'd never experienced that the deep waters, the trenches at that point past kilometre 33, I'd never ran past 33 kilometres. I was almost worried that it was going to get worse. And if I'm honest, I don't think the pain got any worse from, say, kilometre 34 through to kilometre 42. It was pretty much the same. And I was kind of waiting for it to get worse, to the point at which my internal dialogue just went like, just finish. Just get this finished. Who cares about the time? And that's not me. Because when I think about the half marathon race I've done, I got a 40 minute and 30 seconds 10K. I got a sub 25K during the block. They were times I took it to the depths. I was in there, dialed, moving the legs. But this was different. I don't know if that was me or just the marathon is just a completely different ball game in terms of like where you've got to look for the strength. But the strength wasn't in my mind, and the more kind of time's passing, I think I let myself down a tiny bit on the last section. But I'm not going to complain. My actual Strava finish time was 3 hours, 18 and 58 seconds. So I actually got a sub 320, which was the original goal. And I didn't clock until the last like 200 meters that my watch was basically behind the course time. Could be a number of reasons. I took long kind of swerving around too much. GPS could have just been a bit off. Loads of different things. So it depends what I want to take. Do I want to take the Strava time or the chip time? You guys can decide. And also what didn't go so well was the probably last 6 weeks of the training block. Like I've said, no excuses, but I feel like I really reached a really good peak almost 6 weeks ago. And since then, it's been tricky. Life gets in the way. So I don't feel like I actually reached this climax in the training block. Whereas potentially, if I had reached the marathon, obviously you taper, but prior to the taper, I'd reached this peak fitness. I think mentally, then you're waiting to go to war. Whereas I don't think pre-taper, I was actually at my fittest or mentally at my peak, ready to take on the marathon. And I think that potentially affected me later on in the race where it wasn't almost like, this is what you've trained for, this is why you're here, all these kind of things, because I felt like the back half of the block or the final quarter, I didn't put nearly as much work in as I did the first half. And that wasn't really due to motivation or anything like that. It was just due to life getting in the way. So make of that what you will. But on the flip side, you could say what didn't go well was the pacing for the first 30 Ks. Depends how you look at it. You could say I went out too hot. But I honestly don't think it was I went out too hot. I just didn't have the condition in my legs to pull me through that last bit. So it's a hard one. My legs just went to lead. Like you can see my heart rate was going down on Strava versus going up. So it wasn't like I was hitting some kind of fitness wall. It was more just a lack of conditioning in the legs. So if we look ahead, what would I do differently next time training for a marathon? So due to personal circumstances, I would make sure Thursday is my long run no matter what. I only found this out after the first 4 weeks because in January I had no gigs. So I could kind of do what I wanted over the weekends. And then I shifted it to Thursday as time went on. And it felt a bit weird because I kind of was in limbo of sometimes weekend, sometimes Thursday. I would make Thursday my staple. So that's most people go on the Sunday or Saturday. Every Thursday, long run. I'd also build that long run to much higher mileage early on in the block. Because I was fighting this injury, it was very hard for me to push mileage because of niggles and things like that. But I would try and get to, say, 30K within a couple of weeks of the training block, because during this off season now, if you want to call it that, I'm going to make sure I keep up my long runs on the Thursday, but be more intentional when the training block starts again for another marathon. And within them long runs, much more race-paced efforts. And again, just due to the fact that I was building from almost zero, it was hard for us to push the paces and push the mileage without having to either pull back because of too much fatigue or things like that. But hopefully with the right off-season, I'll be able to do this more. And then around the long runs, I would do much more what I call just daily miles. So I do a lot of walking anyway, but what I would do is swap my daily walks. So I'm literally talking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I would make these like 10 to 15K, recovery, easy runs, and maybe even do some double days. And to be fair, I'd probably swap the Tuesday wouldn't be a daily run, daily miles. That's where I would do the track, the speed work. And we definitely got more intense with that speed work as my strength built over the block. So again, next time I think we could go way harder on that stuff. Another thing is I would actually track my calories, carbohydrates specifically, earlier in the blog, I had some weeks where I did this and I felt tons better. I wasn't so, full all the time, wasn't just eating everything in sight. And I performed better when I was doing that, timing the carbs around the runs, having the right amount versus I know a lot of people will just eat loads of carbs. And now, I've got worse body composition when I started, which is very common with marathon training because the excessive carbs you've got to have. And that's not really the issue, but I feel like there was periods where I was just eating for the sake of it, just in case I bonked the next day. When in reality, none of that happened. So I would definitely eat a much tidier diet, because if you think about it, if you can come in a bit lighter to the race as well, you're going to be quicker because you're carrying less weight. So that's another thing that I would take into account. Also, some of the harder workouts I did with friends were much better. It's quite hard to push yourself on your own, but I would probably align some workouts with friends if possible. So the real question is, when am I going to do another marathon? And the answer is, I'm not sure. Valencia is in December, but I counted 16 weeks back from that, and that will be starting in August. And I've got a really big summer coming. So do I want to sacrifice the whole of my summer? Well, not the whole, but the back half of it for marathon? Probably not. I think marathon running is an almost lifetime hobby. I've got all my life to do these, so I probably will wait maybe until London next year or something around that first quarter, because I wouldn't mind starting maybe in December, something like December, January, February, March, because then December you're almost getting into it, January you can really rev it up, and then February, ease back into the gigs, March, go and do the race. That wouldn't be bad, but we'll see. In October, I'm doing a High Rocks event. That should be good. Way less taxing on training as it's much shorter sessions. I think that should go well, seeing as I've got the running under my belt. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you've got any questions about training, running, marathoning, etc., please pop them below. If there's any other kind of content similar to this along the fitness tip you would like to see, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and yeah, what a journey it's been documenting this on Instagram, and who knows what is next.